Ah, hello. I don't think we've met. Sam Ericks.
Victor Tang, pleased to meet you.
And what company are you from, Mr. Tang?
Oceanwide. I'm the sales representative for this region.
Ah, yes, I know your company. Your business is expanding very rapidly at the moment.
Yes, we're doing quite well. And yourself, who do you work for?
Actually, I work for myself. I'm the CEO of a small export and packaging company. We specialise in seafood.
It's a growing market.
Yes, but a very competitive one, Mr. Tang.
Please, call me Victor.
Sam. Victor, let me introduce you to someone. Lynn, this is Victor Tang. He's the regional rep for Oceanwide. This is Lynn Chan, my sales manager.
How do you do, Mr. Tang?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to meet you, Miss Chan.
And you?
Can I get you another drink?
Thank you.
Well, it's been good to meet you, Sam, and very interesting to hear about your business.
Look, we are having a small dinner for some of our clients and friends after this. Why don't you join us?
That's very kind of you. I'll just check with my associate whether they have other arrangements for us.
Well, your associate is most welcome to join us too.
Thank you. Excuse me. Walter. This is Sam Ericks from Ericks Imports. He has very kindly invited us to a dinner.
Yes, would you like to join us?
Unfortunately, I have another engagement. But thank you for the invitation.
Well, perhaps you could join us after that for a drink.
Sounds great. I'll be happy to. Where shall we meet?
How about the lounge bar here at about 10?
I'll see you then. Excuse me.
Lynn, Victor's joining us for dinner.
Oh, wonderful.
I hope you don't mind.
Of course not. You're most welcome.
Well, shall we make a move?
Would you mind if I just say goodbye to a few people?
No problem. We'll see you outside in a few minutes.
Okay.
Another drink, sir?
No, thank you.
Excuse me, is anyone sitting here?
No. Please, have a seat.
That's better. My feet are killing me.
Have you been here long?
No, but I just flew in this morning and I haven't had a chance to sit down since then.
Oh. Where have you come from?
From Manila?
Is this your first visit to Australia?
No, I have been once before, but it was a long time ago.
And have you been to Sydney before?
No, it's an amazing city.
Yes, it has its points. But you're lucky to live in Manila. It's a fascinating city.
What about yourself? Do you live in Sydney?
No, I live in Melbourne. I'm just here for the conference.
I'm going to Melbourne later. What's the weather like there?
Not too good in winter, but at the moment it should be okay. So, how's your hotel?
It's good, very convenient. Just near the harbour.
Have you seen the Opera House yet?
Yes, we flew right over it.
Excuse me, there's someone I must talk to. It's been very nice to meet you. I'm Walter, by the way.
You too, I'm Sue. Perhaps we'll meet later.
I hope so.
Has everybody got a copy of the agenda?
Yes, thank you.
Would you mind taking minutes, John?
Oh, not at all.
Good. Well, then let's get started. First of all, thank you everyone for attending at short notice. As you know, the objective of this meeting of the Capital Works Committee is to discuss a proposal for some urgent building work at our Southside plant. As we've got to reach a decision which may involve spending, we'll run it as a formal meeting. Now, you've read the proposal, so without further ado, I'd like to open it up for discussion. Or perhaps if we can start with you, Tan. What's your view?
Well, I'm not convinced that the work is as urgent as this report suggests. So perhaps instead we should be thinking of the...
So, to sum up, I think we are all aware that some urgent work does need to be done, and we will need to work on a longer-term plan for a major refit. Well, if there's no more discussion, we'll put it to a vote. We are recommending that tenders be called for the urgent work needed. All those in favour? All those against? Then that's agreed. Any other business? Then we'll close the meeting. Thank you, everyone. The next meeting will be in 2 weeks at the same time.
Well, I'm not convinced that the work is as urgent as this report suggests. So perhaps
Oh,
we should...
come on. The building is practically falling down.
Sorry, Lynn. I don't think Tan had finished. We'll get to you in a minute.
Sorry.
As I was saying, perhaps we should get a second opinion before we spend any money.
Thank you, Tan. What's your opinion, Walter?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a question of safety. So I think we should go ahead.
Are you suggesting that someone could get hurt?
In my opinion, yes. If you ask me, there is a serious risk of an accident. And it's not a recent problem.
Are you implying we should have done something earlier?
Much earlier. It's a real concern.
Hear, hear.
In that case, I agree. We should do something now.
I think so too.
Thank you, Walter. Well, if there's no...
Excuse me, Madam Chairperson.
Yes, Barbara?
What about the problem with parking? There were no places again this morning.
Maybe if you got to work on time.
All comments through the chair, if you don't mind, Walter. Parking isn't on the agenda for this meeting. Perhaps you could suggest it for our next meeting, Barbara. Well, if there's no more discussion, we'll put it to a vote.
Here, here.
Okay, great.
Now, we're looking at the options for handling our online orders. They're going through the roof, and frankly, the lead time for delivery is blowing out. We need to improve our performance in this area. Any suggestions?
Well, as I see it, we have three options. The obvious one is to employ more people to do the job. Another alternative is to automate the system more, cut down on the physical handling.
And the third option?
We could outsource.
What are the pros and cons?
Well, looking at increasing staff versus automation, we have to consider the cost. Automating has a higher capital cost than putting on more staff. On the other hand, employing more people is more expensive over a long term. If we keep growing, it'll cost more in the long run.
How likely is it that we'll see continued growth?
I'd say it's a certainty.
Oh, I'd say a high probability. Nothing certain in business.
So what about the third option?
Outsourcing. It does take the problem off our hands, but we lose contact with our customers.
What about the bottom line?
Outsourcing is the cheapest option and the easiest in the short term. But if we want to keep the operation in-house, the best option is automating our system. The only downside is we're taking a risk that our business will keep growing.
Which we hope it will.
We certainly do. Today we're looking at our new widget plant being built at Southside. I've asked Barbara to report on progress and bring us up to date and up to speed. Barbara.
Thanks, Denise. I'll just outline the process we've been through, identify some problems, and give you an estimate on completion time and the outcome financially.
Is it good news or bad news?
Bear with me. Now, if you recall, after a feasibility study, we put the project out to tender 18 months ago and selected EasyBuild as our project manager. Work commenced about 15 months ago and it's been progressing to schedule until recently.
What's the problem?
Unfortunately, there are three. Firstly, there's been a delay in materials, specifically steel, because of industrial issues at the suppliers. Secondly, we've lost days due to the weather. And finally, there's been a resulting cost blowout.
So what are we going to do?
Well, they've managed to get another supplier now. I suggested moving the completion date back, that way there's no penalty. And they agreed to redeploy their workers until building can start again.
Smart thinking.
We've been waiting for the rain to stop, but we can't control the weather.
And the cost?
At this stage, just a small overage, but I'll be watching it very closely over the next few months. With no more delays, we're expecting to complete the project just 1 month behind schedule.
Good work, Barbara.
Now, I'd like to refer to the first graph. As you can see, this is a bar graph measuring net sales over the first 10 months of the year. You'll notice that sales rose steadily in the first few months. Then there was a marked increase in April. They peaked in May at around 3.2 million and levelled off. Then there was a dramatic drop in the following month, followed by a significant increase in August, and this trend has continued up until the present.
What was the reason for the sudden drop in July?
This was mainly due to a drop-off in air conditioner sales, so it's a seasonal effect.
Could it be a consequence of the negative effect of the interest rate rise?
Possibly. Now, if I could draw your attention to this next diagram, this is a line graph of sales. The blue line represents air conditioner sales, the red line shows heaters. As you'll note, air conditioner sales dropped steadily from January to July, bottoming out then, while heater sales experienced a sharp increase from March to June, then dropped markedly from June to July, then declined through to September with a pronounced drop in October.
Does this explain the fluctuation in total sales?
Largely. If we look at this pie diagram, you can see that air conditioners and heaters together represent more than half of our total sales, but they vary seasonally, while other appliances are fairly steady through the year.
Well, we can't sell air conditioners when it's cold. What's the solution?
Export to Europe and America.
Easier said than done.
Today, I'm going to look at the results of our customer survey. First, I'll go through the survey questions, then summarise the results, and finally, I'll outline the conclusions. After that, there'll be time for questions and discussion. So, let's start with the survey questions. Turning to the results, as you can see from the diagram, most people decided what to buy when they saw the product at the showroom. About 1/3 made their decision based on what the salesperson said. The others knew what they wanted to buy already. Most of those made their decision on the recommendation of a friend. Only a few said they relied on advertising. Let's move on to the conclusions. The first one is that it's very important that salespeople on the floor know about our products. Another is that after-sales service is critical. People who experience good after-sales service are more likely to recommend a brand. And finally, advertising. It's expensive, so we need to make sure we're getting results.
So, I'd like to end with a summary of what I've looked at today and some recommendations. The figures show that sales are strongly seasonal and that customers depend on good information on the showroom floor. So I'd like to recommend we concentrate on discounting in the off-seasons and spend more time on briefing our sales representatives. That's all I have for now. Are there any questions?
You mentioned that the sales figures may also reflect economic trends. Can you expand on that?
Well, we are always going to depend on the economy. As I understand it, we can look forward to an improvement this year. Does that answer your question?
Are you saying we're in for a period of growth?
Well, I'm afraid that's a bit outside my area of expertise, but that's what the papers are suggesting.
If you believe it.
You suggested that we might be spending too much on advertising. Can you clarify that?
It's hard to quantify without better data.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
We don't have the figures to really know how effective our advertising is.
In my experience, you can't do without advertising.
Time for one last question?
I have one.
Yes, John.
Is it time for coffee?
OK, we'll wrap up now. Thank you for your input, everyone.
Thank you.
Wilson, can I help you?
Yes, this is Lynn Chan from Acme Appliances. I would like to speak to Mr. Wilson if he's available, please.
Would that be Mr. Wilson Sr. or Mr. Wilson Jr.?
Mr. Wilson Sr.
I'll just see if he's available. Hold the line, please. It's Lynn Chan from Acme. I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson's in a meeting at the moment. May I take a message?
Yes, could you ask him to phone me, please? My number is 23 115654.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Lin Chan, Acme Appliances.
Let me check the number. 23115654.
That's right.
I'll pass that message on. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Acme Appliances, Lin Chan speaking.
This is Tom Wilson, returning your call.
Ah yes, Mr. Wilson. Thanks for calling back. I wanted to set up a meeting with you to discuss your requirements for next year.
Yes, certainly. How about Thursday at 2:30?
That would be fine.
OK, I look forward to seeing you then.
Thursday, 2:30. See you then. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello, Lin Chan, Sales Manager for National Sugar, and my associate, John Martin.
Very pleased to meet you. I'm Victor Tang, and this is my legal advisor, Sue Panay.
I hope you had a pleasant flight over.
Yes, we did, thanks.
Are you staying for a few days?
Unfortunately, we need to get back to Manila tomorrow.
Well, we'd better get down to business. Mr. Tang, to start off with, I just want to say we believe we can offer you a very good deal and come up with a win-win result.
Well, from our point of view, we see it as an exploratory tool. Testing the water, you might say.
We don't intend to reach any agreements at this meeting. In any case, we would need to run it past our board first.
You haven't heard our terms yet. You may find them hard to resist.
Of course, we understand you need time to consider any offer. My first priority is to keep the negotiations open.
What's your proposal, Miss Chan?
We're prepared to offer a very attractive price for a minimum sale in exchange for a 2-year contract. John will clarify the terms. So that's our offer. We believe it's a fair one, with advantages for both sides.
Yes, well, we're prepared to consider your offer, Miss Chan, if you can accept some conditions.
And subject to consideration by the board.
Well, what are the conditions?
Well, firstly, the price you're proposing, would that be variable depending on currency fluctuations? The issue is that we're in an unstable environment at the moment. The exchange rate could affect us negatively.
Us too.
True, but the problem is that we're tied to the US dollar.
We could consider hedging against currency in both directions.
That would be acceptable.
Another problem we may have is that of supply. Our customers often need supply at short notice. If we do get large orders, we need to guarantee delivery, so we need to stockpile. The difficulty there is the capital outlay. How would you feel about a partial offset against our sales?
You mean a loan?
I suppose so.
Would you be agreeable to a deferred payment? We can provide security, of course.
I think that would be acceptable. Unfortunately, I would need to get board approval for it.
Of course.
Then I think we might have a deal.
In principle.
Time to celebrate.
Our keynote speaker is a man who I'm sure is very well known to all of you. He's Professor of Fruitology at Dubbo University and has written many books on the subject of tropical fruit. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Sam Eriks.
Thank you, Denise. The Honourable Judith Bryant, Minister for Trade, Professor Eric Vogel, Professor of Economics at Wagga University, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today's topic, why bananas are bent, is a very significant one in terms both of international trade and culture. In thinking about the topic, I felt it would be appropriate to address briefly the history of bananas and banana farming, the many qualities of bananas, both positive and negative, and of course examine the uses of the banana. But first, let me tell you a story about a banana. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've been able to clear up a few misconceptions and leave you with some new ideas about how we might view bananas in the future. We've seen, in looking at their history, that bananas have a significant role in many cultures. I've also noted their positive, nutritional qualities. And in addressing the main question, why bananas are bent, we've learned that the reasons are many and complex. Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity to address the conference today, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention.
Well, it has been a great pleasure to meet you, Sam and Lynn.
Yes, we've enjoyed meeting you too, Victor.
Yes, it's been great. What a pity you have to go home.
Well, all good things must come to an end, but I'm sure we'll meet again.
Yes, I hope so.
And good luck with your business. I'm sure it will go well.
And I wish you every success too.
Well, I think we should drink a toast to the end of the conference and to ourselves. Here's to us. Cheers.
Cheers.
We should keep in touch.
Yes. Have I given you my card?
Ah, no. Thanks very much. Here's mine.
Do you have a card, Lynn?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll send you an email. And if you're ever in Singapore, you must look me up.
We certainly will. And you have my number. When you're next in Sydney, give me a call. We'll have a drink.
May I take these?
Well, I'd better get going or miss my flight.
Have a good flight home. Bon voyage.
Goodbye until next time.
Goodbye.
This is though. Though is the linking word that we use to show the contrast between two clauses or two sentences, okay? Though. And this one, the same, although, the same meaning. Okay, look at the example. Though my brother is short, he's really handsome. Okay, like the difference. One is short and one is handsome. So, they are contrasts, right? So we use though to show the contrast. Though my brother is short, he's really handsome. Handsome. Number 2. This one, thought. Thought, if it is a noun, it means something you think. And thought, if it is the past simple form, it is the past simple form of the verb think, to think, okay? So that is thought. I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about that. That means I never think about that. I haven't thought about that. Number 3. This is thorough. I know this one is very difficult to pronounce. Thorough, just like 3. Through.